Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and things are getting exciting for Ripple. They just are. I'm going to continue a little bit of that conversation about the standard custody purchase, I think is my understanding. But first I wanted to show you this net inflow in Bitcoin spot ETF greater than 3 billion in a month. Gold ETFs achieved this in 2 years after launch. Literally fire, dynamite. Now, this clip was going around here in the last day or so, and it's a great clip from Chris Larson. I want to say this is from way back, like in maybe even 2013. But it's important because I keep telling you, this is why I'm here. I'm not here to chase all the little green candles or small companies that are doing this and that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here because Ripple's no ordinary company and XRP is no ordinary digital asset. And the things that have been said since its inception. Ask yourself this question. Who in a startup says these kind of things? I've been saying it for years on this channel. Who says these kinds of things? Nobody does. That's why I've been so focused on what they're doing. Listen to what Chris Larson was saying. This is years back.
Said in the past that you are doing for money what email did for communication. Do you think this is really going to take off to that extent?
You know, we do. When we look at the world, you see a world completely connected on an information web. And that's terrific. That makes things tremendously efficient. But what we don't have is the sense of a value web. Payments, the exchange of value is still pre-internet based on 40-year-old technology. And so that's very expensive. That really slows e-commerce. Lots of parts of the world don't have the ability to make payments. So this new technology that really is a second gen of Bitcoin enables now value to be exchanged in the same way that information is currently exchanged. And that's a big deal, we think.
But do you think, Chris, that people are actually going to be comfortable using a kind of virtual currency? I should ask you, too, how is what you've produced on the coin side, on the digital currency side, different from what Bitcoin's already doing?
So what Bitcoin set out to do is really build a new currency that had no central bank. So in a way, Bitcoin is sort of a way of storing value. Ripple is a completely different idea. We're using the same breakthrough technology, but we're using it to build a currency-agnostic value exchange or value web. So you actually don't need to adopt a new virtual currency to use Ripple. You can use it with dollars, euro, yuan, real, anything you like. We have a math-based currency built into Ripple that is like Bitcoin, but it really functions as an enabler. So we think most people will use Ripple using their existing things of value like dollars or euro or yen.
So to what extent, Chris, are you seeing pushback? I know one of the companies that you risk taking market share from is a company such as Western Union. I mean, this is a pretty regulated space. To what extent are you facing headwinds like that?
So you're absolutely right. I mean, law enforcement regulators are right to be concerned about any new technology, but we worked a lot with law enforcement. We were just in D.C. This week, for example. We work with Promontory Financial. So we think that regulators will, if you can express the potential of these to really help business and commerce, and at the same time show that they're actually more transparent systems for catching the bad guys and eliminating bad things that can happen with financial systems, we think that's a win-win, and we think that that is the case with these new exciting technologies.
Now, I know you've done some successful fundraising. Andreessen Horowitz is just one of your more famous backers. What are you doing with the money?
Yeah, so we're using the money for Ripple Labs to really build a incredible team of software developers, cryptographers, security experts, and business development folks that can bring on banks and remittance companies and really mainstream financial companies. But it's important to note, so we're about 28 people now in San Francisco and growing rapidly. Important to note, though, that Ripple Labs is really the company that is building the software and developing it. Ripple protocol is a completely open source system. It's a public good. Anybody can use that. We don't control, we don't own it. So there's kind of two different roles, kind of like a Red Hat to Linux is a good analogy for Ripple.
Chris, before we let you go, some people have critiqued the lack of friendliness or the lack of ease in using the site. Is that something that A, you agree with, and B, if so, that you're seeking to remedy?
Yeah, so we've been focusing to date on really building the network, building the fundamental architecture to make it easier for other developers to build on top of Ripple. Ripple is really like the pipes and the foundation.
They've been laying that foundation for years, and it feels like they're about ready to take that foundation live. Now, of course, we had the announcement about Ripple. They've signed a deal to acquire standard custody, strengthening our product offerings and adding to our growing portfolio of regulatory licenses around the world. All right. Now, I thought it couldn't have been said better than Mikkel. He goes by Mikkel, XRP Mikkel. He says Ripple wins again when he was introducing his video. I like that for a thumbnail. Thank you, Mikkel, for this thumbnail. This thumbnail sponsored by Mikkel. Monica Long, actually, I forgot to do something I wanted to do. I wanted to read to you something. This is from Link2. They've just put Circle up on the platform. As Circle prepares to potentially join the public market, it's imperative to understand the door for Link2 to invest will close soon as the IPO process continues to progress. We will be unable to acquire additional shares of Circle because a moratorium will be placed on private market transactions. With those supply constraints, private market prices will likely be forced up. Blockchain tech companies like Circle that are already in the public market have seen their valuations skyrocket over the past 12 months. Some examples include Coinbase up 161%, MicroStrategy 188%, Marathon Digital Holdings up 366%, Riot Platforms up 191%. Additionally, since Bitcoin ETFs went live in January, a new pool of investors have gained access to buy Bitcoin tracking funds. These funds raked in about $2.8 billion in total net inflows in just the first 21 days of trading, according to Bloomberg. We've continued investing alongside our members. We've continued to make investments in Circle at attractive prices, making Circle accessible to our members for, I won't say the share price because I don't know if I'm allowed to, but once an IPO registration formally commences, this window of opportunity will close. So they've got it on the platform. Let me see if they've added any dates here. Okay, this is going to be up. The way they're pricing is they're doing favorable pricing, and it's going to be up there until it's going to expire at 8 a.m. Pacific time on the 14th of February. So check it out. Now back to Monica Long's tweet. As we integrate, and by the way, Ripple shares should be up there as well. As we integrate custody more deeply into Ripple's products, we see clear synergies with standard custody to complement our payments and custody offerings, all in service of being a one-stop shop to move, convert, and store value with blockchain crypto. Then Brad Garlinghouse weighs in. With standard custody, we'll be able to improve existing product offerings for our customers, as well as explore new products and use cases, all in a fully compliant way. To date, Ripple has secured nearly 40 U.S. money transmitter licenses, MPI licenses from MAS, and VASP registration with Central Bank of Ireland and counting. Now, that reminds me, remember when this guy right here was talking about there was going to be an announcement related to money transmitter license? Sean McBride, ex-Rippler, says Ripple acquiring standard custody. Ripple signed a deal to acquire standard custody, a wholly owned subsidiary of PolySign. We expect it to close in the coming months, subject to regulatory approvals and standard closing conditions. Standard Custody is a trust company with New York DFS Limited Purpose Trust License 14 plus 14 money transmitter licenses, which will add to our licensing portfolio and help broaden our product offerings. and further strengthen our relationship with regulators. We expect this will complete what we sought to accomplish with an acquisition of Fortress, a U.S. trust that would help enable our current and future products and services. This acquisition affords us the possibility to improve our current customer experience, plus explore new complementary products, all in the service of our goal to become the one-stop shop for enterprises looking to convert, store, and move value on the blockchain around the world. Ripple provides enterprise solutions built on crypto infrastructure, which encompasses technology, solutions, and regulatory licenses. And then Chad Steingraber had put a Standard Chartered, this is apparently what their software looks like when you're logged in, trading platform. Now, he added a clip here of Jack McDonald. Why is custody important in crypto? And Jack McDonald in this clip is talking about standard custody.
I think for a lot of different reasons, and we can differentiate between retail and institutions. Institutions in many cases have to use a qualified custodian as part of the custody rule, and the SEC has recently proposed some changes around that. But using a qualified custodian, if you fall under the rubric of the Registered Investment Advisor Act of 1940, then you have to use a qualified custodian. I would ensure that there are the operational and client support teams that you would expect to see from an institutional sell-side provider. You want to ensure that the assets are insured, even though it may not be a requirement. It's certainly a best practice. And I also think, just like in life, we're judged by the company we keep. And so I would be looking at the other service providers, partners, vendors that given custodians work with, where given custodians, for example, get their market data research from folks like DAR, all who provide an excellent service and we think are reflective of the quality that we and other qualified custodians have. At Standard Custody, we built our business specifically to avoid any conflicts. So we are exclusively focused on providing custody and escrow services. We don't provide any trading functions or staking or lending or borrowing or market making, et cetera. And so I think as you watch this industry unfold, you will see more pure play custodians like Standard Custody be selected by the issuers, and then we will work in concert with market surveillance partners to provide that very important surveillance sharing agreement that the regulators seem to require. One way or another, tokenization is coming, and it's going to have a profound impact on global markets as we know them. And I think that custody will continue to be a cornerstone of that. There will be other services that complement it, and it will happen slowly over time. But it's undeniable in our view that custody around digital assets will play a key role going forward.
Okay, now Eleanor Terrett it was showing a dialogue about the ETH ETF coming. Matt Hogan, I think it's probable we'll get an ETH ETF reasonably soon. I think there's a 50-50 chance by May, but the bigger story is what's going on with the Bitcoin ETFs. This guy says this is just the beginning of a crypto asset renaissance. How about an XRP renaissance? That's what I want on my thumbnail. I like that phrase. I'm going to put XRP renaissance because of the recent Ripple purchase. I think 50-50 by May, 75% by the end of the year. Eric, today, will you sue the SEC again if they don't approve the ETH spot ETF? We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. We may have to look at the facts, but I'd put the odds of approval at 50-50 by May. Now, I have about 3 red files. We're going to flip through the red file, and I'm going to show you a video that I showed it yesterday, but I'm going to zero down, and we're going to kind of flip through the red file, which is the All the World's a Stage file. We're going to do this in DAIXRP.com. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family. If you like looking at taking a peek at the red file, the All the World's a Stage file, and you like looking at that thing, then we're going to take a little look here. Here we go.